Hi guys, welcome to the next video of the RESTful tutorial series. In some of our previous videos, we tried to test our web service from the browser, either by hitting some URL from the address bar, or posting a form from an HTML code, or calling the web service from the AJAX call. Now we can call the web service from the Java code also. For that we need to write one Java client, and in this video we'll look into how to create a Java client to call the web service. We'll use the Jersey specific classes to create the client. For this we'll create one dynamic web project called client project, and in this project we'll create one JSP, one servlet. In JSP we'll have two input boxes and one submit button. When we hit the submit button, it will actually trigger the servlet, and the idea is to call the web service or write the client code inside the servlet. Let's create one client project. Let's create one JSP file. Make the title as get user detail. Let's have one form. Right now we are not using these fields, the name and email, but in subsequent videos we'll definitely use these fields. So let's have them in place. Let's create one servlet. Inside the same project, we'll name it as client servlet. Now here inside do post method we'll have our client code. Now before writing the client code, we need to put the Jersey jar files in webinf lib, because we will be using Jersey specific classes. So I have it here, all the jar files. Okay, so we have the jar files also. Now let's write the code for the web service client here. First we need to create one client object. We have a client class. They have one method create. Using that we can create one client object. Now when we create one client object, what happens? It creates a default client handler and default client config inside it. And the default client handler is a URL connection client handler. That means that it internally uses HTTP URL connection object to make the service call. Then it exposes one method called resource. It takes one URL. We will provide the web service URL which we want to invoke. This is the web service URL. It points to the get user method of the resource class. Okay, so this is the web service URL, users/service/get. It will take us to this class and then this method. Okay, so this is the URL and it returns a web resource object. Now what this method does, it creates one web resource object and passes this URL to this object, and it also passes the client object to the web resource object. So the web resource object internally has everything. It has the client config which was created by the client object. It has the client handler. So web resource has everything which is needed to make a call. Now using this web resource object we can do so many things. So this is our actually important object. We can set HTTP request header parameters, we can set cookies, we can set HTTP request methods, and we can get the response back. So we'll use those methods here. Import the class. Okay, so it has one get method. Now this get method, what it does, it sets the HTTP request method as get, and then it hits this URL and gets the response back. Now we can specify how to accept the response. So there is one Jersey specific wrapper class known as client response class. So we would like to accept the response in this class. So what it does, get method, it invokes this URL, gets the response back, wraps it around this client response object, and returns us one client response object. Import the package. Now using this response object we can get the HTTP response status, we can get the response body also using the get entity method. So response object has one get status method, I'll just use this here. If this status equals to 200, then get the body of the response. For that we have to use the getEntity method. You have something called getEntity method. Now in this getEntity method, again we need to specify in which class we want to accept the response body. So in this case I am accepting it in a string. So let's provide it as a string. So it will return us the output in a string. Right now our method is actually not returning anything, so we won't get anything, but we'll be able to hit the web service and we'll be able to see this log statement. So that means that we are able to call the web service from our client. Okay, so now the web resource object has some other method like accept, by which we can set the accept HTTP header parameter. So text/HTML we can put. And similarly, for setting different HTTP request methods, we can call put, post, delete, like that. So it has all those methods. Now let's build this. And run the client. Okay, so we can see that it is able to hit the web service, and we got the log statement here. So in an overview, what we need to do, we need to create one client object, and using the resource method we'll get the web resource object, and web resource object exposes so many methods for setting different parameters. So we can use like accept, we can use like get, put, post, delete, all those. And then we can get the response status from the getStatus method, and we can get the response body using the getEntity method. Here entity means the response. Okay, so this is the way we write the client code in Java for the web service, and this is it for this video. Thanks for watching.